friends, it's Lisa, and welcome to a very exciting vlog. So today is March 2nd, which means Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare is being released into the world. And of course, like I did with Chain of Gold, I wanted to do a spoiler-filled vlog, reading it for the first time, getting my reactions on camera, and talking to you guys about everything going on. So yes, this will be a spoiler-filled vlog, so if you don't want to be spoiled for this book, Chain of Gold, any Shadowhunter book, I would click off. But if you have read the book or you don't care about being spoiled, definitely continue on watching. But I just wanted to start this vlog before we got the book and we start reading. I don't really have any predictions. I've been watching like theory videos and like reading things, but I'm like, I'm just concerned. That's my theory, that I'm going to be stressed. So there's actually an article that is the most important things we know about Chain of Iron, and I think it goes through like a lot of general things and then like character by character what we know. So I'm gonna probably look through that. I started to look through it and got stressed. But I did know before that article and just in general that there are going to be 5 character deaths in this book, and they're gonna be, I think, like characters we know by name. So that is very stressful and I'm concerned. I have no idea who it's going to be because I refuse to accept that it's going to be anybody. I feel like one of the Merry Thieves might not make it. I feel like it's going to either be Thomas or Christopher, but I refuse to accept that. That's not going to happen. It ain't happening. But yeah, that's all I know. I have no idea what's going on. I just know I'm going to be stressed. I do need to finish actually my reread of Chain of Gold. I have like 100, actually less than 100 pages left of Chain of Gold. So I'm going to be reading this and finishing this up. And then when Chain of Iron is in my possession, we will start reading it and I will start screaming. Okay, it is now the next day. Chain of Iron came out yesterday and I still don't have it in my possession. I'm slightly freaking out, but it's okay because I'm going and getting it today. So all will be right in the world. So that's basically what this update was. It was me coming on to say I don't have it, but I'm going to, and I will be starting it as soon as I get home. I'm just so excited for this book. I'm stressed. I'm so concerned about what's gonna happen, but I'm so excited, and I don't know, like the last time I was this excited for a book release. It might have been Chain of Gold, and then before that, like Queen of Air and Darkness. I don't know, something about Cassandra Clare releases, they just hit different, you know? Anyways, I'm gonna go. We're gonna go to Barnes & Noble. I'm gonna get Chain of Iron, and then I'm gonna start reading and crying. It's happening. I'm gonna start reading. I will check in once I have some initial thoughts. I'm so excited, but I'm already so scared. Okay, I'm here with my first initial update for Chain of Iron. So the first, I think it's like the first 2 chapters, first like 50 pages, were released as a snippet a few months ago. So I had already read that. So I've only read like 1 chapter that was new to me. And basically what has happened is it was the night before the wedding and now the wedding is like about to happen. It's like the day of the wedding. And I think I stopped right before the chapter where like the ceremony is actually gonna happen. So I don't know why I stopped there. I don't know why I always stop like right before moments that I'm scared to read. I like am in denial that something might go wrong, so I just don't read it. But I'm already intrigued and I'm already stressed because like the very beginning of this book starts with like someone that we don't know killing another Shadowhunter, and their main targets are James and Cordelia, so stressed. And then also we are getting more perspective from Grace in this book, which is going to be very interesting, I think. So I think there was a flashback from Grace's perspective, and I think all of the flashbacks in this book are going to be following Grace. I'm pretty sure Cassandra Clare said that all the flashbacks are going to be following like one person. So I think they're all going to be about Grace, which I think is going to be really interesting because I think Grace, she is terrifying and so like she makes me so angry, but I definitely think there's like it's gonna be interesting to learn like her backstory. And then also at the wedding, Tatiana like possessed a maid basically, like she like talked to Grace through someone who was helping with the wedding, and we basically got confirmation that Grace is capable of like manipulating men, which is terrifying. Like, we kind of got confirmation that the bracelet that she puts on James does something to him. It does have a power over him, and that she's able to also just manipulate men because of who Tatiana is working with, which I think it's James's grandfather. So the Prince of Hell, that is his grandfather. I think that they're working together. So that's interesting. It's interesting that we kind of got confirmation of that, and now we're going to be seeing that from Grace's perspective, I think, throughout this book. But yeah, that's really all I've read. I'm about to read the chapter, I think, where the wedding, like, actually happens, so excited and stressed about that. I also looked up the family trees and everything that she made for the Clockwork Princess, like, dust jacket on the inside, even though she said not to trust it. I'm wondering if she's telling us that, but, like, it is going to be correct. She's just telling us not to trust it, so it's not, like, a spoiler for the whole series. I don't know, but I looked at it because I was just curious as to what it said happened. I knew James and Cordelia were married on that family tree thing, so hopefully that stays true. It also says that Lucy and Jesse get married, and Jesse is currently dead. He's currently a ghost. So how is that gonna work? Is that gonna even happen? I don't know. But the thing that surprised me the most, the thing that I didn't remember, and I feel like I didn't know because I looked at that family tree before reading Chain of Gold, so I didn't know these characters yet, and I wish I had gotten my reaction when I looked it up yesterday, because it says that Christopher from this book, Christopher Lightwood, aka Kit, marries Grace. What? I feel like that's such an odd pairing that I would have not expected. And I know, again, Cassandra Clare said not to trust the family tree, but, like, it exists, and now I know. So, like, is that gonna happen? Because at the end of the chapter I just read, Christopher comes in and, like, leads Grace to the ceremony, and she was thinking, like, oh, he was very gentle about it. He wasn't, like, very forceful. I don't know. Is that gonna happen? Is that gonna be a thing? I'm concerned for him. I just hope that if that does end up happening, that she treats him right. So yeah, I know she said not to trust those family trees and everything, but I can't help but look at them and see what happens and not be stressed about it. So we'll see. I'm gonna go and continue to read. I basically just want to read all day today because I can. So I'm gonna go do that, and I will check in with you guys when I have more thoughts. I'm really stressed about this next chapter. I'm stressed about this whole book. I'm really not prepared. Why am I crying? Oh no, now I'm really crying. No. Jem is playing the violin. Okay. Okay. Okay, so I'm still reading the wedding ceremony, but sorry, I'm like in frantic mode. Can you tell? But they had Lucy and Matthew give them I still don't know how to say this word, the stele? That's how they say it, I think, in the Shadowhunters TV show, so maybe that's not right. Anyway, they had them give them to Cordelia and James, and Matthew does the words that's in their ceremony. I don't know what I'm trying to say. But he says, "For love is strong as death, and jealousy cruel as the grave." And Matthew definitely has feelings for Cordelia. This ain't good. I'm already stressed. Oh, they're so dumb. Bless them. "You may now kiss," said Charlotte cheerfully. Cordelia stared at James open-mouthed. He looked just as surprised. It seemed they had both forgotten that this would be part of the ceremony. Oh, what clowns. Not me actually giggling reading this book. Am I okay? Okay, so the wedding's over. They're at their new house, and James was just showing around. Now they're playing chess, but all of the little details that he picked out for the house with her in mind, he literally loves her, and it's so stupid that stupid Grace and her stupid bracelet is getting in the way. I just want them to be happy. That's all I want. Okay, James needs to get this bracelet off of him because he clearly loves Cordelia. And this stupid bracelet is holding him back. And I'm gonna be bitter about it forever. But basically he gave her a necklace and it has a globe on it. And he said, "We have talked so much of travel. I wanted to give you the world." bi and she thinks that he still likes Grace. I'm just saying, they're being clowns. They're being clowns. It's Matthew. I love it. Oh my god, Oscar Wilde's on there. Wow, this is excellent. This is just such a fun surprise throughout the book. I've been waiting for Matthew's. I'm excited. Where's Lucy's? Okay, so I'm stressed. I feel like every time I've picked up my camera, I've said that I'm stressed, but it's the mood. I'm stressed. So basically right now, the Merry Thieves and Cordelia and Lucy are talking about how James had like a vision type of thing where he was like, basically these murders keep happening and he had a vision where he was in like the perspective of the murderer. So I think we're gonna be led to believe that James is murdering these people and he just doesn't know it, like he's being possessed by something to do that. I feel like we're being led to believe that it's gonna be James, but it's not going to be him. Oh, hello. Hi. Come here. Come discuss theories with me. Or we're going to be led to believe that it's James, so then we think that it's not actually him, and then it will actually be him. I don't know. I'm also slightly concerned for Thomas. I kind of had this prediction that either Thomas or Alistair is not going to survive this book. Perhaps I'm wrong. I feel like both of them deserve better, but I'm concerned because they were trying to convince Thomas not to go on patrol because that's when like the deaths have been happening, that's when the murders have been happening. And I'm concerned for him. I know that Cassandra Clare said that there was going to be 5 deaths in this book, and I'm pretty sure when she said that, she meant like people we knew by name. So like the 2 characters that died that were like murdered, even though we don't really like know who they are, so I don't think that those are a part of the 5 deaths, or maybe they are. I could be remembering wrong, but I know that there's like a lot of death in this book, so either way I'm stressed and concerned. But I had to say that because I feel like we're gonna be, because it's in the synopsis of the book and right now, we're gonna be led to believe that it's James unknowingly doing these murders, committing these murders. So I just wanted to get my theory out there that like it isn't gonna be him, but I feel like Grace maybe, or Tatiana, or maybe both, like are gonna be involved with manipulating somebody to do it for them. Unsure. It's unclear. But I stopped kind of in the middle of the chapter where the characters are discussing what's going on, so I'm going to go back to reading because I just want to hear what they think's going on. I'm very overwhelmed. Very concerned for Thomas. I'm very concerned. Another day, another concerned thought about Chain of Iron. I just realized it took me a day, or a few days, for me to realize, but I kept seeing people say that there is an incest plotline that gets brought into this book, and like, anyway, and I was trying to think of what could happen, like who's gonna, like what does that mean? And then I realized that technically, well not technically, but kind of, Christopher and Grace are cousins. Because Christopher's dad is Gabriel, and Gabriel's related to Tatiana, they're siblings, and then Tatiana adopted Grace. So, like, they're not technically related, but, like, she adopted her, so, like, they're kind of cousins. So if the Clockwork Princess family chart thing was right, and Christopher and Grace kind of become a thing, is that what people mean? I'm not kidding, I've just been staring. I have a little cheat sheet kind of thing on the, I don't know if you can see, on the inside of my book with all the characters and like the relations to their parents and everything, because I still get confused a little bit. And I was sitting here staring like, okay, what is going to happen? And that's the only thing I can really think of. So I'm a little concerned about that because I kept seeing people talk about how there's an incest plotline. And this again, I was like, ugh, I thought we moved past that. I thought we could get over that. But no. So I'm a little concerned because I'm so excited about this book and I'm really enjoying it so far, but I don't want that to like come in and ruin it, and why does that have to be a thing? Anyway, I'm gonna go back to reading. I haven't read much since yesterday, so I'll come back when I have more thoughts, but I had to say that prediction because of the spoil. I've only seen like that it happens. I haven't seen like who it happens with, so we'll see. I'm scared. If it's anything else, it's probably gonna be much worse. So, I mean, is it worse? It's all bad. I'm just gonna go back to reading now. The queen is here. I love this. This might be my favorite one. I also really like Cordelia's too, but this is great. We stan. Okay, I literally wish I was recording while I was reading because I gasped. because I have a theory, and it's not a good one. They're talking about the killer that's going around and killing shadow hunters. And first of all, they were talking about how there's like the thing called death energy, and you can use, you can raise the dead with a catalyst, and like you have to kill people, I think, to get that energy and whatnot. And Christopher goes, but most involve using the life force released when someone dies to power a corpse rising. So first of all, I definitely think Lucy's going to start contemplating killing somebody. Well, I don't think she's actually going to kill somebody, but she's definitely going to be like, okay, that'll raise the dead or bring a corpse back if that happens. So she's going to contemplate that. But that's not even why I gasped. So Matthew starts saying, well, if the killer were a shadow hunter, he or she could have no use for death energy, blah, blah, blah. Unless they were in cahoots, which, love that word, love the word cahoots, with a warlock, I suppose. And then he gets cut off by Thomas. And he goes, oh, bother, I promised I'd get home by noon, blah, blah, blah. Is Thomas the one killing people? Because it would make sense to bring back Barbara that he would be killing people. Right? I don't know, something about Thomas just interrupting him and going, oh, bother, I need to go, when they're starting to, like, put together theories. Oh, Thomas, it better not be. Oh, no. And that would make sense as to why he wasn't concerned about going on patrol, because it's him. And he's the only one that can go on patrol from his group of friends. I definitely could be wrong. Because he's saying, my parents are fussing and they keep threatening to ask Charlotte to strike me off the patrol list if I don't sign up for a partner. So he's hadn't had a partner the whole time. He's been by himself. And, like, you could almost see why he'd be doing it. But also, like, it's definitely, when you're in the perspective of the killer, they're, like, really angry at people. And I don't think Thomas would be bitter killing people. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna run this theory by Therese and Andrie and see if I am just crazy. Okay, hello. I'm here with a Chain of Iron update. I don't think I have really updated you guys much over the weekend, but a lot has happened. I've done a decent amount of reading and we have some thoughts. I'm up to chapter 22, page 479. So I've read a decent amount, I think, since the last time I checked in. I think I was around the 300 mark, maybe? Even before that, the last time I checked in. So, to give a summary of everything that's been going on. Well, first, one of the things was that Cordelia's dad came to ask James for money, and that made me really angry, but then he ended up being killed. He was actually one of the people who ends up getting murdered by whoever is going around and murdering these shadow hunters. So that was a lot. And what's funny is Casey from Casey Can Read, we were trying to figure out where we were in the book, and she literally said, oh, I just got to the part where James and Cordelia argued because her dad died. I was like, Casey. And I was like 5 pages away from reading that part, so thanks, Casey. But I still wasn't expecting him to die. I mean, obviously when Casey told me, I knew, but that was shocking. I didn't really expect that to happen, but it did. Also, Matthew ended up telling Cordelia about why he is the way that he is. He ended up telling her about his mom and the potion he gave her and how that made her lose her baby that she was pregnant with at the time. And if you read Ghost of the Shadow Market, you knew that that was what happened, because I believe that's a short story in that novella bind up. But it was still really hard to hear Matthew tell the story, and then just his reaction, and just, I don't know, it was just an emotional situation, and I cried. I just love Matthew, so Matthew does anything and I either laugh or cry, so that's really it. I literally have notes that I'm looking at so I can remember what I wanted to talk about. So there's one thing that I wanted to show, and it's one of the pictures I thought was really cool. So Jesse Blackthorne got a picture. I don't know how well you can see that, but I just thought it was cool that his colors were reversed. So all the other pictures, oh, here's one, are a white background with black details, whereas Jesse's is the opposite because he's a ghost. I just really liked that little detail, and I felt the need to point it out. Plus, Jesse Blackthorne, we have to stan. Oh, another thing that kind of goes along with my theory that was wrong about Thomas, he ends up being accused of being the murderer, and it ain't him. So we find out that Thomas has been going out on patrols by himself because he knows that the murderer is it's least likely that the murder will be caught if there's 2 shadow hunters who are announcing their arrival anywhere and are talking, and the murderer would be least likely to get caught that way. And what ended up happening was Thomas came across a dead body, and some people saw him over the body with a knife, and it just made him look very sus, but it wasn't him. So I'm glad that my theory about that was wrong. I still have no idea who it's gonna be, but I'm glad that that was wrong. And then we end up finding out that Alistair, I still don't know how to say his name, Alistair? You would think by now I would know. But he has actually been following Thomas because Thomas has been alone. He's just been making sure that Thomas doesn't get himself killed and that someone would be watching him. So that's a lot to unpack. But then they ended up being put in the sanctuary together to be held before they could be tried officially or have the mortal sword or whatever. And I just knew that when those two were gonna be left alone, something was gonna happen. And I was right. It's the one positive thing that's happened in this book so far is the fact that they've talked and then they ended up kissing, and I'm here for it. I love them. I stan. I'm concerned because that's a happy moment, and does Cassandra Clare know how to make characters happy for any amount of time, more than 5 minutes? No. But still, I screamed. So there's that. That was great. And then the last thing I want to talk about is Kit and Grace because Grace went and saw Christopher. And I don't know what's going on there. I'm very concerned about that. But I'm just what is Grace? I don't know how to feel about her anymore. The first time I read Chain of Gold, I really did not like her. And then my reread, I was okay, I still don't like you, but I can tell that you are being used by Tatiana to get what she wants. And even though Grace and Tatiana have kind of the same end goal of bringing Jesse back, it's just the way that they're kind of mentally preparing for it and going about it is very different. But seeing all these flashback scenes with Grace and seeing just how Tatiana was using Grace to get what she wanted, it's Grace really had no hope to be this character, and I still don't like Grace. I still don't like what she's doing, and I think she's kind of coming to the realization that she doesn't have to do what she's doing, but she's still doing it anyway. I think she feels she has no choice and that she has no one else, so she's continuing to do it, but I think she had no choice really becoming this person. She lost her parents when she was 7, and Tatiana has been raising her ever since, and I think there was no hope for Grace to be a decent person. I mean, there might be a redemption arc, we'll see, but what she's doing, she had no hope. There was no one in her life that cared about her, and the only person that was taking care of her was Tatiana, and obviously Tatiana is making her do all of this stuff, so she had no hope. I'm a little concerned that I feel anything but hatred for Grace, but it's fine. So yeah, I feel that's mostly everything that I've read about. Also, James being tied to a bed and him and Cordelia kissing. I read that part on a live stream yesterday, the first BTS live stream reading sprints that we had, and I just wonder if was I reacting? Could people tell that I was reading something? I don't know, but that part was stressful. This whole love triangle between James, Cordelia, and Matthew is just going to end up with Matthew being hurt. I feel because I don't think Cordelia feels that way about Matthew, and I just feel James and Cordelia clearly love each other, and I'm upset on Matthew's behalf. But yeah, that's gonna be a whole mess. So I have a feeling that's just gonna continue to be messy. I'm very scared to continue on. I feel if I finish, we're gonna know obviously who the murderer is, I think, and I'm just scared to see what ends up happening at this ending. I've heard it's quite emotional, so I'm not ready, but I'm gonna go and start reading because I really want to finish it today, so I'll probably be checking in with you guys throughout the day while I read, and once again, I'm very stressed. Okay, so James and Cordelia were just making out, but it ended up causing the bracelet that Grace made James wear that's putting him under her spell, kind of. It ended up breaking. Which, at first, I was yes, so powerful. But then it, causes James to have this terrible reaction, so it literally ends with his head snapped back. She saw his eyes fully black, the whites gone utterly, as he spasmed once and crumpled, motionless, to the floor. Okay, so, what? And then I turned the page, and it's a Grace, section, but it's only a page. But I feel her entire character has been summarized by this one little paragraph, and she was talking about how she kept everything about James and the bracelet and what Tatiana wanted Grace to do a secret. But then it says, Grace has feared above all other things that now Jesse would find out, that he would learn that she had exploited James, used him, tricked him, that he would believe she was a monster. And perhaps she was, but she couldn't bear to have Jesse think so. That's literally her entire character in a nutshell. What did that bracelet do? Why is he passed out? What's going on? I'm stressed. Okay, I gotta go back to reading. I need to know what's going on. Okay, so they ended up, when Thomas found, what is her name? Lily Highsmith or whatever? Lillian Highsmith. When Thomas found her body, he found this, like, I still don't know how to say it, stele? That thing. They found one that basically can take runes off of people and transfer it onto other people, which is definitely what the murderer is doing. And Christopher had it, and Matthew came to his house and asked for it, so Kit gave it to him. But it wasn't Matthew. So who is this murderer? I don't understand. They're clearly using other people's bodies because that probably was them. Well, now we know it's not Kit. Which, love that. I was a little concerned just because it seemed like it would definitely not be him, so I was a little concerned, but it ain't him. I feel like I can confidently say. I have no idea, and I'm stressed. Is it Charles? Now I'm just gonna start guessing, people. Maybe it's Charles. Where's Charles been? I think he's been in Paris, but where has he been? Maybe I just want it to be Charles. Okay, I have no idea, so I'm gonna go back to reading, and then maybe I'll find out. Okay, I literally have not read anymore. It's been like 2 minutes since I last talked to you guys. But what if the murderer is Alistair? Because, I mean, I don't think he'd kill his own dad, even though he doesn't like him. But, like, they didn't try him with the mortal sword when he, like, defended Thomas. Maybe he was following Thomas to protect him, but also, what if he was murdering people and that's why he was out? I mean, I don't want it to be him either, but I'm just saying it's a possibility. I'm suspicious of every single person in this book, and I don't know if I'm ever going to be prepared to know who it is. But we'll find out, won't we? Okay, I have another theory. Okay. Hear me out. So Lucy just went to Jesse's body, and she ended up seeing the runes that were being stolen off of the people who were murdered. They were on him, and we know that that stele is taking runes from people and putting it on somebody. We imagine they're on Jesse. What if it's Jesse's dad? Even though he died. Would that make sense? I feel like characters being dead means nothing in these books. Just the way some of the people talked about the people who were murdered talked about the murderer before they were killed, like in James' vision. They recognized him. I feel like there was something, though, about the murderer being someone, like, they commented that he was dead. And his wife... Oh, I have so many tabs, I'm not going to be able to find it. Okay, I found the part I was talking about with Jesse, his dad, because when Lillian Highsmith was dying and she was talking to Thomas, he asked, who did this to you? And she goes, he did, but he was dead in his prime. His wife, she wept and wept. I remember her tears. So I'm very confused. So maybe it is him, but like, how would that? I don't get it. I don't understand. I'm telling Therese and Andrie, and I feel like Andrie's finished, so she knows. So she's probably just like, Lisa, just read the book. So I'm gonna go and read. I just need to read and then I'll know a concept. What's happening with Jesse Blackthorne? What is he doing? Oh. Okay. It's James's grandfather, but he looks like Jesse. I'm so confused. Is he using Jesse's body as a way for... Where's Lucy? Because whatever she did is causing this situation to be the way that it is. Where is she? Is she okay? I'm concerned. What's happening? So, was it Jesse that was killing people? Okay, me and Therese and Andrie did talk about... Well, mostly me and Therese, because Andrie's finished the book. But we talked about it being Jesse because the murders were only happening at night. Okay. So we found out that the murder was... I might pronounce this wrong. Belial. James's grandfather. The Prince of Hell, you know? It was him possessing Jesse's body that was being preserved for him to come back to life, he was possessing his dead body to go around and kill the Shadowhunters. So my theory with Jesse's dad wasn't crazy, because they were even saying, like, the people who recognized him thought it was his dad. So I wasn't crazy for thinking that. Like, I wasn't completely off. I was, but I wasn't. I'm just slightly concerned because I still have like 80 pages left of this book. So what else is going to happen? Like, I've heard that the ending is quite emotional and devastating, and there's way too much time left, so I'm scared. Alright, excuse the wet hair, but I have finished Chain of Iron, and I'm emotional. Basically, a couple of the bigger things that happened that I want to talk about is the fact that Belial was kind of exposed for being the killer, and he was using Jesse's body to do it. I feel like that would have been a very underwhelming reveal, because obviously I kept trying to guess who the killer was the whole time, because I thought it was too obvious that it would be Belial, but it was. But I feel like the fact that he was using Jesse's body and he like left that anchor in his body so that he could do that, like way back when he was like a baby, I like that whole aspect of it was pretty shocking. So it was like almost okay. And then also like the reveal that Cordelia, instead of like swearing an oath to Wayland and Smith, it was actually Lilith. That's not good. But that reveal happened at like the same time, so I feel like the fact that it was Belial that was the murderer being a bit underwhelming like was made up for with all of those other things that were being revealed and what was going on. So yeah, that's very stressful, and I feel so bad for Cordelia because all she wants is to be like a hero, and all she wants to do is like fight and defend like herself and her people and the people she cares about. But now it's like if she wields a weapon at all, Lilith will be able to use her like as a weapon for her own like sake, and she could end up like hurting herself or hurting her friends and family, and I'm just like, it's just not fair. I think because they got Belial like out of Jesse, like out of him, like he wasn't possessing him anymore. I think that's why Lucy was able to command Jesse to come back to life, because that happened. But then Lucy passed out like 2 seconds later. I was like, okay, we can't have one good thing last. So I'm slightly stressed about what's gonna happen with Lucy, but like, I don't think Cassandra Clare's gonna kill her. I don't think Cassandra Clare could kill Herondales at all. She loves them too much. But I'm still very concerned. What is going on with that? Did it like take her life kind of to bring Jesse back? Like, what is going on? I am concerned. And then I feel like the rest of it is just like the relationship drama. So first of all, Thomas and Alistair, still don't know how to say his name. But the fact that he was like, Thomas, you're gonna have to choose between me and your friends because they like hate me, so like bye. I didn't like that. I knew that their happiness wasn't gonna last, but like it still hurt. And then just like the ending, everything that like snowballed with Grace, James, Cordelia, and Matthew, like what? So first of all, Tatiana wanted Grace to try and seduce Jesse so that Jesse could like do Tatiana's bidding, but like they're literally brother and sister. So don't love that. I mean, it's interesting to see that dynamic being viewed as a negative thing, because obviously Grace was like, no, that's kind of gross. But like, why does that have to come up in so many Cassandra Clare books? Like, when is it gonna end? But anyway, I think Grace went to James to kind of try and get like one last try at not having to seduce her brother. And then it just kind of caused this whole thing where Cordelia only heard half the conversation, and then she ran to Matthew, and then Matthew confessed his feelings, and then James chased after Cordelia, and then they were on their way to Paris, and he got up. This is the part that is stressing me out. He got to the train station. He saw them. He could have caught up to them and gotten on the train and like explained everything. But Will came out and was like, hey, James, your sister's missing. We gotta go. So it's like James was so close to being able to explain everything. But because Lucy is missing, he had to just sit there and like watch the train leave and like not explain it to them. And I'm stressed about it. I'm so stressed about Chain of Thorns. What is gonna happen in Paris? Like, that is my concern, because I feel like Cordelia and James very much love each other. Like, I feel like they're gonna be the ones who end up together. But my thing is, like, I just want Matthew to be happy, and I just don't know if I don't necessarily want him to be with Cordelia, because I think Cordelia and James love each other too much, and I like them as a couple, but I want Matthew to be happy. And I just really feel like Cassandra Clare is gonna kill Matthew in Chain of Thorns, and I really hope I'm wrong, because when you think about it, like, these books don't really have anything to do with like future books, really. Like, they're so far a way that it doesn't really impact what's going to be going on later. And the thing with Matthew is like he has another brother who could continue on the Fairchild line. So I'm concerned. I don't think Matthew's gonna make it out of this series, and I hate that for me. I love Matthew, and I also love Lucy, and I also love Cordelia, and I mean, I love a lot of the characters in this book, but those three are probably my favorite from this series, and I will not be okay if Matthew dies. All my favorite characters always end up dead, so like, I need to stop having favorite characters. I just feel like Matthew like deserves a chance to be happy and like to explain to his family like what happened all those years ago and like be able to get better. And I hope Cassandra Clare gives him that opportunity instead of just killing him off. But I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. That's really my only prediction, that I think Matthew might die, and I really hope I'm wrong. But yeah, that was Chain of Iron. What? I ended up giving this 5 stars because I'm simply trash. I feel like the only thing that I really had to say was that the reveal about Belial being the murderer was a bit underwhelming, but the fact that he was using Jesse's body and all of the reveals that came with that, and then also like Lilith happening at the same time, like that almost made up for it. And then also like Tatiana being like, seduce your brother. That part was also not great. But other than that, I feel like I really didn't have any issues with it. This was an angsty ride. I feel like if you love angst, you're gonna love Cassandra Clare, because the thing that she does is like she does so much miscommunication in these books, and normally miscommunication does bother me. I think it just depends on the situation. The thing with these books, I feel like there's so much miscommunication, but there's also like a bunch of other stuff happening all at the same time. So it's like it's not just that that's happening, but there is a lot of miscommunication in these books between these characters, and it causes a lot of angst with the romance and everything, which like I kind of love, but also it stresses me out. But yeah, overall, I loved it. I finished it yesterday and I literally have not stopped thinking about it. I just keep thinking about Matthew Fairchild and crying. So that's gonna be the mood for the next year. I can't believe we have to wait a year to find out what happens. I am simply too impatient to wait for Cassandra Clare releases. I can't do it, but I'm gonna have to. Okay, wait, before I wrap up this vlog, I just realized that I think it's the Voyance rune on Lucy's hand is glowing. Is that supposed to be because Belial was taking he was in Jesse's body taking the runes from people and putting it on his body? Is that why? Well, I'm gonna have to dissect this cover now that I know what happened. But anyway, that's going to wrap up this reading vlog for Chain of Iron. If you've made it this far into this video, I imagine you've read this, so definitely let me know what you thought about this book, what you gave it as a rating, any of your thoughts. I would love to know. And also let me know who your favorite character from the series is. Like I said, mine I think are Cordelia, Lucy, and Matthew, but definitely let me know because I do love them all. So like, you're gonna say any character that isn't those three and I'm gonna be like, yeah, same. But I think that is going to complete this reading vlog. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.